Alright, today we're going to be making duck confit ravioli. This took about 3 days to make, so yeah, here's how we're going to start it. We're going to start by getting our duck confit ready. We're going to take our duck out of the package and heavily salt it. You're going to want to salt both sides of the duck. It's going to draw out any of the impurities of the water because they're little river pond animals. So it's going to draw out some impurities from the meat, and we're going to put that in the fridge for 24 hours before we actually confit the duck. So yeah, I'm flipping them over, salting them up real well. I'm going to put a lid on it, keep it in the fridge for 24 hours. And yeah, it's pretty simple, this first step. A good way to tell that it's been 24 hours is that I have different clothes on now. So we're gonna pull the duck out of the fridge, and then we're gonna remove it from the container and rinse all the extra salt off of the meat. Boom, look at that beautiful duck. Yeah. Now here I have a liter of that golden beautiful duck fat. I'm gonna put it in the microwave, melt it down, and then we're gonna pour it on the duck after. So for the duck confit, we're gonna add some rosemary, thyme, pink and black peppercorns, and a few cloves of garlic. Also, I forgot to add this in the video, but it's bay leaves we're going to throw in there as well. Now we're going to add all of our herbs, peppercorns, garlic, bay leaves into the duck after it's been rinsed. And we're going to pour over that little bit melted duck fat just to completely submerge the duck so it can go into a 225-degree oven for about 4 hours. It's going to be low and slow, and the duck's going to end up falling off the bone and be absolutely delicious when it's done. We can say goodbye to that duck now for about 4 hours, like I said, and with movie magic, it's been 4 hours and the duck is ready. Pull back the aluminum and grab a pair of tongs to see how tender your duck is. You want to be able to fall off the bone just like that. We're gonna cover it back up and throw it in the fridge overnight. Now it's the next day and we are going to be making our ravioli dough. I got some 00 flour because it's the best for pastas, so says the bag, and other reasons. It's just an Italian milled flour that's better for pastas and pizza. So we're going to start off with 2.5 cups of flour, and then we're going to form a well with our flour. So as you put it in a mountain and dig a little hole into the top. You can use your knuckle like me, and yeah, look at that, spin it around, bada bing, bada boom. Now we got a well. Now we're going to start adding the egg yolks to our flour. So we got 1, 1.5, 2, 3, 4. That's a whole egg. So that's 4 yolks, or 4.5 yolks in a whole egg that I added there. Then you're going to want to pop the yolks, mix them up with your finger, and slowly incorporate the flour all at the same time. But you're going to add some olive oil and a little bit of salt before you do that. Okay, there we go. Now we're whipping it up. Getting that flour slowly incorporated, flicking it over, fingering those eggs real good. Boom, boom, boom. Look at it go. Mix, mix, mix. Keep adding that flour till them yolks start getting real thick inside there. And then you're going to start kneading your dough pretty much. Yeah, there we go. The dough's going to be completely done by feel. So I'm just mixing it all together. Realize I don't have enough egg in there. I'm going to add 1 more egg and slowly incorporate that on the side, and then realize it's still not enough, so I'm going to add a 2nd egg into this mixture. Now the dough's starting to come together, and I'm going to keep kneading it. This is not something you can really over knead. Your hands are going to get pretty sticky, so I'm going to wash my hands and then add, nope, I didn't wash my hands yet. I'm going to add more flour, then wash my hands, and then keep kneading it. I swear I washed all the extra dough off my hands by now, but I guess not. So I'm going to keep kneading this dough until it becomes nice and smooth and one, like, whole mixture. There you go, look at that. Now it's becoming something nice. Oh shoot, I washed my hands. And now that our dough has come together and looks very uniform, we're gonna wrap it in plastic and let it sit until we're ready to roll it for our ravioli. Oh yeah, look at that dough. I'm just gonna set it to the side and save it for and now I'm white. I'm just kidding. It's my buddy Alex. He's back. He was on the Tostadas episode. He wanted a little redemption. Now he's all blinged out, and he's going to be helping make this duck confit ravioli. He's starting off by picking some sage because we're going to fry it. It's going to have nice little crispy sage leaves on top of our pasta. So yeah, look at that beautiful sage. We got a little pot of oil on here, and you're just going to throw them in and avoid all that splatter. I think I might have got hit with it, but it hurt. The sage will begin to change color and become a bit darker when it's ready. So we're just going to mix that around the oil and pull it off and set it on a paper towel, and make sure you salt it right away so the salt will stick to your sage leaves. Next, we're going to be making some pickled blueberries. So we start with a little bit of white vinegar, some balsamic vinegar, drip, drip, drip. Look at it go, boom, boom, boom. We're going to add some sugar. There you go. And a little bit of salt. Then we're going to bring that over to the stove and let it. Now we're going to bring our vinegar mixture over to the stove, put it in a pan, and bring it to a simmer to dissolve the salt and sugar. Once it's ready, we're going to pour it over our blueberries. Here I got a shallot I'm going to slice up all thinly because they're going to go for a nice crispy shallot on top of our pasta. Look at that knife work. Oh my god, I am pretty alright, I guess. Now that the shallots are sliced, I'm going to throw them in a bowl, pour a little buttermilk or regular milk on them. Here I'm using regular milk. We're going to give it a little mixy mix. We're going to toss the shallots in some cornstarch because it's 2019 and gluten is weird. Just kidding, we're making pasta. Then we're going to put onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and pepper on them, and then we're going to give them a mix and set them aside. Oh yeah, the duck. We put that in the oven at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes to get it nice and hot again, so we're able to pick it off the bone. We're going to peel off the skin of the duck actually and set that aside because we're going to put it in the oven and get it nice and crispy. Now Malik's here is going to be cutting up some parsley and chive for the filling of the duck confit ravioli. Look at that knife work. We're going to set that aside in a bowl, and then we're going to begin to pull our duck off the bone, put it in the same bowl as all the herbs. So we're going to start by straining it off. You're going to want to save all that duck fat. You're going to put it in the freezer. You can use it for potatoes, whatever you really want. Now we're going to begin to pull all the meat off the bones of the duck, put it in the bowl with the herbs. And then we're going to take out the duck and chop it up a bit smaller so it can fit inside the ravioli. Once your duck is all cut up, you can throw it back in your bowl and set it aside. Here we have the duck skins I threw in the oven at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes till they got nice, crispy, and golden. Now we're going to start making the sauce that will bind our duck together for the filling of the ravioli. We started by sweating off an onion, some of that confit garlic that was inside of the duck fat. Got a bay leaf in there. We're going to deglaze that pan with a little white wine. We're going to let that white wine reduce a little bit and then add some 35% whipping cream for our sauce. Let that bubble away, season it with some salt and pepper. Now we're going to let that simmer away, add our fresh herbs, add some fresh grana padano to that. It's like a Parmesan. Now girl, look at you, you're thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. We're going to pull out that bay leaf and add our nice thick sauce onto the duck. Ooh, look at that drizzle. Now give your duck filling a good mixy mix. Make sure you season it with salt and pepper so it tastes nice. Now we're going to be making our mascarpone cheese filling for the inside of the ravioli. Now we're going to put a couple of scoops of mascarpone in a container. We're going to rasp one orange over it, crush some sage, salt, a little bit of pepper, add a little triple sec because why not? That was too little, but I think I had a little more after. Give it a good mixy mix, taste it, and adjust the seasoning if you need to. Time to roll the ravioli, the moment you've all been waiting for. Watch Alex unwrap this piece of dough and struggle because it's stuck to the plastic just ever so slightly. Now he's going to flour the work surface, flour the dough, and cut the dough into 2 manageable sized pieces. Like that. Now that we have no bling on, we're going to stretch out the dough ever so slightly, just so we can work it through our pasta maker. On the first go, we're going to want to roll the pasta dough through on the widest setting first. And then we're going to want to laminate the dough. So we're going to fold it into 3. We're going to flatten the dough out a bit and rotate it 90 degrees and put it back through the pasta maker on the same setting. After you put the dough through once, then you can turn to setting 1, and you're going to want to put the dough through on every setting at least twice. You want to go all the way to setting number 7. Here I think we're on setting number 7. I don't know why we didn't cut the dough in half. We just wanted to make a 9-foot piece of pasta for fun. That's literally the only reason, but you're going to want to cut it into manageable sized pieces if you're putting it through by yourself. Gonna want to cut our dough into nice equal sized pieces, but they're gonna be a bit bigger than the ravioli press, because when you push the mold in, it's gonna be dipped down like so. You want to have that little extra room so you can have a nice full ravioli. Ta-da! Little pasta holes. Now we can fill with our duck confit filling. This is what we've been waiting for 3 days, people. So fill all the holes with the duck. They're going to want to follow that with the mascarpone cheese filling. Next, you want to grab a second sheet of pasta, brush it with a little egg wash so we can stick it on top of the ravioli to make the back sides of them. Alex is going to just press it down into the mold gently. Then we can roll over that with a rolling pin to help seal it in. We actually overstuffed some of them and didn't flour it at first, but by the second and third batches, you can see we got the hang of it. Now we're going to be making our brown butter Marsala wine sauce. Now that our butter is all perfectly brown, we're going to add some shallots to it. Give it a good mixy mix. Add our Marsala wine. Add a splash of heavy cream to this next. Let that cook down a bit, and then you're going to add some balsamic vinegar. Then we're going to let it simmer away and begin to thicken. Make sure you taste your sauce for seasoning, see if you need to add any salt or pepper. Then we're going to put our sauce into a bigger pan because we realize we can't toss ravioli in such a small pan. Add our herbs and let it reduce till it's thick enough to coat a noodle. We're going to add some olive oil to our water before we put our pasta in, because that olive oil will help strengthen the noodle. Then we're going to add our pasta to our pasta water. Look at these beautiful little raviolis. Throw them in, let them hang in there for about 90 seconds till they're cooked on the outside and warm on the inside. Toss that in our brown butter Marsala sauce. Give it a good flippity flip, flip flop. Now it's almost the moment we've been waiting for, plating. First, we're just going to add a little bit of freshly grated granite padano to the mix. Now that our sauce is all sticking to our noodles. Oh my god, that looks delicious. Make sure our dogs aren't drooling too much, but they lick their lips in sync. Chop up that crispy duck skin. Now it's time to plate. We're going to pile that ravioli nice and high in the middle of the plate. We're going to next top the ravioli with some fresh granite padano. Then we're going to gently place our pickled blueberries on top of our pasta. A couple pieces of that fried sage from earlier. Then we're going to add our little crispy shallots I never showed you how to fry. All you do is put them in a pot with some oil and fry them up. It's not that difficult. Top that with a little bit of the duck skin, and then bada bing bada boom, the meal is ready. Look at that. It took us quite a while to make, but it was freaking amazing. If you made it to the end of this video, give the video a big thumbs up, drop a comment down below, hit that subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you want to see me make next, because I'm down to make anything. Peace.